We in the Democratic Alliance tried exactly this after the 2016 election. We took the risk of being in minority coalitions supported by the EFF, which failed spectacularly. Back then, we put together opposition coalitions in Johannesburg and Tshwane, neither of which had enough council seats to get over the 50% threshold of the vote. The EFF did not join those coalitions, but offered their support on a case-by-case basis. In both these cities, our minority coalitions had to rely on the EFF to get the majority we needed to govern. This resulted, as history has shown us, in chaotic, unstable governments in which smaller parties switched sides and power kept changing hands. In Johannesburg in particular, Herman Mashaba, who was still a DA mayor, understood that in order to remain mayor, he had to dance to the EFF's tune. Even Julius Malema, the leader of the EFF, acknowledged that Herman essentially became the EFF's mayor. Now, that may have been a bonus for the EFF, but it was disastrous for everyone else. The election result in 2021 is different from 2016 in only one significant respect. In Tshwane, for the first time, we are now able to put together an opposition coalition government that will have a clear majority of the seats. We will not have to rely on the EFF to secure a majority and remain in office. Sadly, the same thing cannot be said for Johannesburg. Essentially, what we are being asked to do in Johannesburg is what we did before. We are being asked to put ActionSA at the head of a minority government that is dependent on the EFF to get 50% plus one of the votes. This, in essence, repeats what we did after the 2016 election and which failed dismally. Going into this election, I was very, very clear, and so was the DA. We promised the voters faithfully we would not repeat this blunder. We have consistently said that we would rather be a good, strong opposition than in an unstable, chaotic, unprincipled coalition that has to kowtow to the EFF to stay in office. So it is quite wrong to present the election for a mayor in Johannesburg as a choice between the ANC and an opposition coalition under ActionSA. It's actually a choice between the ANC and the EFF, and that should be clear to all informed observers. In the midst of the current confusion, we have an obligation to think clearly. Our resolve is being tested, and we intend to stick by our commitment made to voters across South Africa about the EFF. After our negotiation team reported back to FedEx, we considered their report and reaffirmed our resolve as follows. 1. We will not go into chaotic minority coalitions that are dependent on the EFF to stay in power. We would rather be a principled, strong and effective opposition than be in government at all costs, especially when we know we will not be able to govern unless we dance to the tune of our arch opponents in the EFF. Thirdly, we respect the will of the voters, and where we enter into opposition coalitions that have a chance of succeeding, we will support a representative of the largest party as the mayoral candidate, as we've done in Mpho Phalatse and other municipalities in Cedarburg. We will not be part of any voting bloc that is dependent on the EFF. Now, none of this should come as a surprise to anybody. We've repeated these commitments consistently since the failure of the 2016 minority coalition governments. We emphasized them throughout the 2021 campaign. The DA is a party that learns from its experience. We are also a party of our word. Now is the time to demonstrate both. On Monday, the Democratic Alliance will present our mayoral candidate, Mpho Phalatse, to election as Johannesburg's mayor at that inaugural council meeting. On Tuesday, we will present the DA mayoral candidate, Randall Williams, for election as Tshwane's mayor at the inaugural council meeting in that city. While both these meetings will constitute a milestone in South Africa's political development, they do not signal the end of the road. The DA will always keep the door open for continuing talks to enable like-minded opposition parties to find each other and build a strong alternative to both the ANC and the EFF. What we're not going to do is be forced into a false choice between them that can only lead to failure. We want stable, committed and principled government that speaks to service delivery and delivering for the people of South Africa. We will always act in the best interests of the residents of the cities where people have entrusted us with their votes. The decision that we've made today is a reflection of both a commitment to our values and principles as a party, but also to the commitments that we made to the voters of South Africa going into this election. I hope that this clarifies the position, and we look forward to keeping you updated as more elements start to come together in the formation of coalitions around the length and breadth of South Africa that the Democratic Alliance is in the process of putting the finishing touches to, always acting in the best interest of the voters and in the best interest of the democratic future of the country.